All right, welcome everyone. I think we got it working today. So we are live right now and we are streaming on X, YouTube, and Instagram. So welcome Sierra, Homes and Hustles, and we're waiting on a few more people, but how you been?
I've been good. How are you doing?
Good.
I
Trying to
like
play
that
around with this.
little countdown.
Yeah, I'm trying to play around with it. Oh, we got Buzz Tune here. Thank you for stopping by. Oh, we got Team Heck. One of Hugo's guys, and Afro Capitalist is checking in. I'm trying to get him on the channel, but he's kind of busy. So in June he'll probably try to pop on for something. But
Oh,
yeah, so
nice.
what are you working on? And you don't return my calls anymore
Your calls.
or
You've never
message,
called.
Oh,
Yeah, I
messages.
I return them. I'm just extremely slow lately. Um, yeah, it just seems like the busier I get, the harder it is to stay on top of everything. But especially the social media stuff, that seems to be the first to go.
Yeah, yeah. We got Scott's in here, and CJ has stopped by also. What's going on, CJ? Yeah,
What's up,
CJ.
goofballs?
Yeah.
Mark's word for us is lunatics, but I like goofballs too.
No, yeah, somebody else sent me that Lunatics Instagram post, and then that's why I sent it out. But CJ, he found something on X, and he's like, "This is my type of post or lady or I forget what he commented, but he found something on X that yeah." But yeah, I was like, who is this? I didn't know who she was. She was the one that threw like a tantrum on the flight from Dallas. I don't know if you
Oh, I
saw
didn't
that.
see that. Uh-uh.
Oh, yeah. I guess she thought someone stole her AirPods, so she made this whole big
Oh
thing, and
my
then yeah. But yeah, I'll send it to you.
That's
It's
unfortunate.
pretty funny. But yeah, I don't know if you wanna hold on or just kinda chit chat until MJ or Joe hops in, but, I
Yeah,
think the first thing yeah, go
I
ahead.
haven't been on a call with MJ yet, so I was excited to
Yeah, I
meet
figured
him
bring someone
online.
else on new, someone new. But, how's all the Zuber merchandising going?
So far so good. The last of what I shipped, I haven't checked the tracking, but it should be getting there this weekend or maybe Monday. And so I think I'm all caught up on what he's ordered so far. So I'm excited to get stuff like released where people can purchase it and um it'll be cool to see like everyone in the community like wearing something that I helped make, and so I'm excited for that.
All right, yeah, and, it looked good. I saw the sweats, and it looked dope.
The sweats are
Mhm.
cool. They're
Yeah,
definitely I'll have to get a pair. I'm excited for those.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Stay winning. Yeah, he was on with me the other day. That was a fun one. But hold on, MJ's here, so we're gonna bring MJ in. Let's see here. There you are, MJ. So you are muted right now. Looks. Oh, there you go. Can you hear us?
Hey, yes, I can.
Yeah, and Sierra on Homes and Hustles is here. She hasn't interacted with you yet. She said.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, how
Yeah.
you
What
doing?
are you driving right now or working right now?
No, I'm done driving for the week today. I was on the web with this app. This caught me off. I had to download the app, and then that's what took me a couple of minutes getting into this session.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's I like it though. As you can see it, it's kind of cool to use. And right now we're streaming on three platforms. We're on Instagram, X, and YouTube right now. So hopefully you can get more followers from this and more engagement. But I'm close. I haven't looked before we hopped on, but I am close to 400 subscribers. I don't know.
Already
I'm at
400.
yeah, I'm at 399. So if someone
Oh,
out there
Nice.
is
surely you can
listening,
get, yeah, one more. Okay.
yeah, I mean, my goal is 400 by the end of the month. So I'm like, all right. So, and yeah, Daryl, Janitor on Fire has stopped by. So he is actually the one that sent me or commented or tagged me on a video in Facebook. And that's kind of where I got the idea for our first, our main topic about kind of how the doomers or crash bros are winning right now. So I don't know if you guys saw that video from Bigger Pockets or On the Market, and they were giving out like awards and things like that. And one of the awards was like who or why, what is preventing people from either investing or buying a home. So what is holding people back? So the choices was inflation, lack of inventory, high rates, or Crash Bros. And of course, Crash Bros won. So if someone wants to start, maybe like what their thoughts are on Crash Bros, maybe preventing people from getting started.
Uh, I go first.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
The Crash Bros, all guys, because there are some women too, right?
Yeah.
um, I think it got a lot of influence of a lot of people because these Crash Bros and sisters got a lot of influence overall. They got big followings, um, and stuff like that. So if they saying hey don't buy now because X Y Z, a lot of people tend to that, and a lot of people unfortunately try to make excuses or side with excuses because it's easier to do than do the work and move forward. So I think just having influence over people and people not really educating themselves and looking at the bigger picture and really trying to accomplish home ownership is a big reason.
Yeah, definitely agree with that.
Hold on, I'm gonna goof around with this. So Janitor on Fire, his comment was real estate mindset and RE venture consulting are terrible. So I think a lot of people know that those are probably two of the bigger doomers. So have you followed them or watched any of their videos before, Sierra?
So I mean I have watched a couple of their videos. I did not um ever follow either one of them. I saw Reventure Consulting or RE Venture Consulting Nick I think on someone else's show one time that I did follow, and so, it was just interesting though because I think that was my first exposure to him, and I remember thinking the entire time that everything that he was saying contradicted, like, the reality that I was experiencing, and I remember at the time, like, he even referenced, my market, like, the place that I was living in, not just the place that, like, I was looking to invest, like, he was talking about Kansas City at the time, and I remember thinking, like, that is not at all what I'm seeing here. And so, it was just interesting because he was like, "Oh, well, I went and visited and like and I talked to local realtors and like this is what the feedback that I got." And I was just like, "I don't I mean, I'm not understanding like the." And so I remember being in the comments and just like kind of asking a lot of questions and being really confused by what the information he was putting out. And that's the thing about I think he's known for his data and charts, right? And so the the interesting thing about statistics and things like that is you can kind of make manipulate numbers and make things, say kind of whatever you want to say. And you really have to have more context to stats in order to get good information that you should be using to make decisions. And a lot of times it just feels like information is presented numerically and then they kind of make up a story about why it could be that way or where they think it's headed versus like giving really good context for that. So yeah, the real estate mindset, I think I saw a few of his videos, but one thing I was going to note on this Crash Bros thing though is that initially, when I was looking on YouTube, like a lot of their content came up, but Zuber became a suggested video from one of the Crash Bros, like videos, like he played after it. So in that, in that sense, like they kind of do a favor to some of the better content creators where when you're talking about real estate like they're all lumped into that same category. So it was nice finding some people who were reporting a little bit less dramatically or emotionally about the market. And so that was one benefit to the Crash Bros, but it does seem like they scare a lot of people.
And they don't stop. They keep going, and they'll find any new reason to put doom out there. And Zuber always talks about, I get it, maybe that's their kind of focus, right? They're trying to get the followers and subscribers, and they're trying to get monetized. But it's like we're kind of talking about like how much people they're probably hurting, right? And I think that's what we're trying to promote and tell people like what we're doing and what we're doing in our special markets and whatnot, and what we're seeing out there and things like that. So I think that's super. And like you talked about, it's kind of just how they spin things also, right? Like a lot of times they might use percentages, right? So, it might seem like there's a drastic change in inventory or whatnot, but they're using a percentage and not actual numbers, right? Where it's actually not as big if you look at it from a number standpoint, right? So
Right,
it's
like
just how they
foreclosures.
interpreted
I
that.
think that was a big
Yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah. And then, so MJ, maybe talk about your market, like Chicago. Like, do you kind of see the doom that they're talking about or putting out there?
Um, well, like I'm noticing a lot of names like yourself been mentioning this real estate is super and hyper local. So everything that's going on the national level is not going on the local level or these sub markets. Um, so in my area or where I specifically invest, it don't really too much affect the numbers or anything. The numbers are the numbers. You understand the good deal, the great deal, you make it. And like I really agree with Dion what he always says. He always mention interest rates or crash brothers and sisters don't determine when you buy. What determines when you buy is you having a down payment, your reserves, and ready to buy. Because if I got the money, I'm buying. I don't care what the interest rate is. I'm gonna figure something out. But the biggest challenge for newer novice real estate investors is coming up with the money, the down payment, the closing costs, et cetera, et cetera. So to simply answer your question, I don't think it's affected my market per se, and it's not skewing my opinion on when to buy or anything because I understand the end goal and I understand the importance of doing my daily discipline, understanding my mark, understanding what rents go for, my rent box and everything. So when I just have the money, which I'm getting very close to, making an offer, making a deal, I just, I just shoot the shot. I just shoot the shot. I'm not waiting on. If I'm open, I'm shooting the shot, and I look at it as just having the money to win to invest in real estate.
Yeah, and then we have Jason here in the comments, and he's asked a question for you, MJ. Said, "Hey, MJ said, what zip code do you invest in?" So, he's investing in 60619.
Okay, nice. Hey, Jason. I think the 60619. I think that might be the Chatham area. I'm investing in 60621/60636 zip codes in Chicago.
Yeah, you got to connect with Jason. He's a good guy, man. He's on Facebook, and he's also always on Dion's lives and whatnot. So, yeah, you should connect with him, man.
Seeing the one rental at the time group, Facebook group.
Yeah, he's Dion's stunt double. He looks. I always tease him that he's baby Dion, but he might not like that. But that's what I joke around. but but yeah. So like Sierra, do you like? I mean, you've been investing for a while now. Like, could you see the information that they put out though, kind of you know hold you back or stop you from getting started?
When it came to investing, not really. When it came to purchasing a primary residence, it definitely got in my head a little bit. And just that I remember being you know being under contract on a property and needing to lock in my rate and the financing, right? Like you have that 3 days to get your financing, I think, typically in order. And I remember, like everything that I was listening to, and a lot of that was, a lot of like, oh, well, interest rates are really high, like they're going to come back down, and everybody who buys right now at the 5% interest rates, like, are going to regret it. And And so I remember thinking like maybe I'll wait, just like I'll wait till the third day because like rates are going to come down. Like everyone's talking about that happening and how anyone who buys now is, that they're going to regret it. And so it was getting in my head a little bit. And I remember thinking like, oh, I'm going to push this off a couple days. And my lender being like, 2 days isn't going to make enough difference. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you need to just lock in your rate now. Like, he was very sensible. Um, and sure enough, rates just continued to go up after that. In fact, I don't think from the point that I locked in that rate that they ever went back and slipped below the rate that I got. So not even for a day, and they were pretty volatile for a while. So I do remember getting in my head, especially for the primary residence, and I think that's just because on the primary residence side, like I'm not running it as a numbers game, and there's more that goes into that decision than just like do the numbers work at this interest rate, and am I going to make money on this? Like it's more of a long play, and for me it's more of like what kind of value can I add, and if the price does plummet in 2 years, can I resell it? And if I'm at this rate and rates drop, like am I going to be able to refinance it because I'm putting so much cash into it? So it was more of a different ball game than just running the numbers on an investment property at whatever the rate is and making the deal work. So I think that for people, I feel lucky because I had already owned two houses at that point, and so I felt pretty confident in just real estate in general, and so I wasn't really freaked out by owning a house. And a lot of what these crash bros talk about is like everything that can go wrong. And when it comes to home ownership, like it's really unlikely that you're going to have like every single thing go wrong on your house, like the HVAC go out and the roof start leaking and like all of this stuff. Like you can mitigate so much of that before you ever purchase. And so yeah, I was confident in real estate, but I could totally see how a complete newbie who's maybe only rented and relied on a landlord to fix everything may be freaked out by having all of those variables and the financing side of it kind of adding to that in play, and then having all these people say that like it's a terrible time. But I always think it's interesting because it's like, so that means the better time to buy might be 10 years from now. I'm like, do I really want to not have a house for a decade? Like I think I'm good with it. Like if if I buy a car and 10 years from now I've driven it and depreciated it to $0, like I'm still glad I had that car for the decade. And so I feel that way about a house too. Like even if every dollar I put into it, like I don't get back in equity, like that's fine. That's kind of what renting would do anyways. So like even if I just throw all that money away for a decade, like I'm still kind of breaking even. And so and I got to have a house in the meantime. So I do think it's interesting how they scare people, but then I'm like, what's the point in waiting if you're ready to have a house now? Like you don't want to push off your life for that far.
Okay, hold on. Joel is here. I'm also gonna. So one of you can tackle this question from one of the comments. So let's see. Hold on. I'm trying to do a few things. So, um, you think Stay Winning or Hugo is right about rates? Slim chances about going back to 2.5%. What is your guys' take?
Uh,
You'll have to explain what's Hugo's take that they aren't going back to 2.5.
Yeah, so I believe Hugo might have posted something on X or one of his videos recently at Stay Winning Pod talking about we may never see rates below 3 again, or it's going to be, if we do, it's going to be a while, right? So, what is you guys' thoughts on that?
Um, I think like 2.75. I mean, I get the what's the word I'm looking for? The fascination about having a 2.75 interest rates. I mean, at that point, like Zuba says, that's an asset. Whatever property it is, almost. I think we shouldn't get too caught up in that. I mean, we was in the situation with the health crisis or whatnot in 2019, 2020. So everybody was panicking, and me kind of understanding economics more. Now I'm understanding why they did it. It was more to continue the money flow within the economy, so things just won't stop or be a standstill with no money going back and forth. I mean, I would love for it to happen, but I'm not banking on that. I'm just trying to understand more and more and make deals work at higher interest rates because the chances of that maybe happening is maybe be slim to none. I don't think it's gonna happen. Maybe within our lifetimes. I mean, if it was to happen, I would definitely refinance and take advantage of it. But I'm not banking on that to happen.
Thanks for joining us, Joel.
Hello.
Yeah. What's up, man?
You miss me?
You came in at the right time though, because someone had a question. Can you hear me, man?
Now I can. Did I freeze or
Well,
did
you
you
are in,
freeze?
I don't know, but you are in the mortgage industry, and someone had a question. Do you think we'll ever see rates at 2.5 again?
If that happens, that means Armageddon's happening. So I hope not. Because to give a bit of perspective, from I got in the business in 2006, where rates were at the 7% range, and the floor had always been 3.25, and that happened in 2013 and in 2016, and then in 2020, COVID happened, and rates broke through that floor of 3.25 into the twos, and so that's a COVID anomaly. It's not. If it happens again, that means we're going through another crisis, which I hope doesn't happen.
Very true. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I mean, if I feel like this is just a shot in the dark, but I would say like 5% seems feasible, but lower than that seems like unlikely. But you can always buy it down lower if you want to. And I definitely think seller concessions and that structuring deals like that is going to be much more common, where you can get the seller to buy down your rate.
I think at some point we might see under 4 again, but that's not anytime soon. It'll be, when they need to stimulate the economy or get money exchanging hands and transactions going on. But for the foreseeable future, yeah, I don't see anything that low. Like Sierra mentioned, probably in the fives would probably be where we'll be at for a while. But yeah, also let's see, all nighter hider wanted to get a few shirts, he said. So he's asking for your contact info. But
Yeah, pass it along. You're more than welcome to.
Cool.
Or
And Joel,
if he's on Instagram, he can message me there too.
oh yeah. But Joel, you kind of missed it. We kind of maybe finished up a little bit on the first or the main topic we were talking about. And if anyone else has questions, they can pop it in the comments. But the first one you can kind of touch on a bit. We were talking about how the doomers are, have won, right? They've prevented a lot of people from getting started, probably, investing or buying real estate. And I don't know if you follow On the Market, another YouTube channel, Bigger Pockets, but they were kind of passing out awards and whatnot. And they were talking about who has hurt people the most as far as getting started or investing. Was it inflation, lack of inventory, high rates, or has it been the doomers from YouTube? And the doomers won out. So do you have any thoughts on that?
Just so that I understand clearly, the doomers on YouTube, meaning claiming what? That markets are going to crash, housing market's going to crash, or what's the?
Yeah, you shouldn't be buying real estate right now. Prices are going to drop 40%, or foreclosures are up 1,000 something percent, and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. The data doesn't really back it up as a whole. Not like there's some parts of South Florida that are hurting. that's kind of unique, I would say. There's just a lack of inventory. So yeah, YouTubers win that one, I think. And inflation probably a close second, because the prices that what happened in 2020 and 21 in terms of the cost of living, like that 9% increase, 2 years in a row, those costs are still built into people's budgets, but income hasn't really increased lock and step. So people are struggling from an aggregate standpoint in terms of bills. So YouTubers and inflation for sure. What else?
Yeah.
What else did I miss on that topic?
But I think the fear is what really stops people. No, that was like the main thing, and we just kind of were joking about how I think it would be easy not to get started, right? If I saw one of those videos and I haven't invested yet and I haven't bought any real estate, and I saw one of those videos and they're telling me that housing prices are going to come down 40% or all these foreclosures are happening, then yeah, I think it's an easy way to put an obstacle in front of yourself, right? So I think that's where, Homes and Hustles, MJ, yourself, we're trying to put out content, right? That letting people know that people are still doing deals, people are still active, and prices may come down slightly, but it all depends on what market you're also investing in, right?
So I think this is so interesting, and I'm laughing to myself.
Do we have anything else? Yeah, go ahead, man.
Because I'm in the middle of my journey. I'm 40, right? So I've been in the game. I've seen what happens in real estate. I've got hopefully some more time left for things to happen. But I'm in the middle, right? And so I'm seeing things from the rear view mirror and also still in the future. And the doom and gloomers, right? Like crashes are going to happen. And like in reality, if you're a first time home buyer, let's just say you're 25, like this could be the greatest opportunity in history if you look at it from a certain perspective. Because yes, let's say markets go down or even crash, right? Like market efficiencies are so much faster now. When things do happen, the markets correct even faster as new information comes out. If you look at COVID, markets, the S&P 500, dropped by like 50 or 60%. And then after about 45 days started the ascent up and then on to all-time highs. Like the efficiency of information is so fast now that things happen quickly. And so if you're 25, right, and the markets right now are slow, people are scared to get in the industry, to get in. Like the whole Warren Buffett mantra of buy when there's blood in the water. There's blood in the water, right? Maybe that effect is not in prices, it's in transactions. And we talk about that, and Zuber talks about it, the crash is happening in the transactions. So there's effects happening in the marketplace. So if the average age of a first-time home buyer is 36 and you get in at 25 at a property for 150, there's not a whole lot of risk if you have the right perspective. Because what if prices go down, right? Like you've got 30, 40 years to recover. Rents are only going to continue to go up. There's not enough housing out there. Population is still growing. So if you're a first-time, shit. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
if you're a first-time home buyer, there's an amazing opportunity to be able to scale. And if you're increasing income, saving money, buy a couple of properties in a few years, scale up, there's opportunity where people are scared. Now, if you're middle or later in your journey, you probably have less margin for error to take a risk. But if you're early on, you got lots of time. And it's, in my opinion, can be worth the risk if you've got the right mindset.
Yeah. You know what I do want to say, though? I didn't even notice, but Sierra doesn't have her normal backdrop behind her.
I know. I'm working on a new setup. This is gonna turn into a subscribe button soon, and I need to get my sign hung up over here. But yeah.
What about the color? It was all black.
I know, but it was a pain because my hair
Joe,
is
I'm
so
at
dark.
$3.99 too. We're talking about it.
Yeah, I had to.
My other
you
channel.
still didn't send me a photo, so I don't have to keep using.
I know.
So I don't have to keep using that one
with my mouth open. Yeah.
But yeah,
I need to work on that.
No, well, it gets the most attention, but but let's transition then. So we're talking about doomers or the housing market, but I also had a post on X, and I saw it on Instagram. But Realtor.com had something about Gen Z and millennials. They're doing houses before spouses now, and they're looking into buying and that's how they're getting onto the property ladder. And I guess there's companies that's kind of their niche. They're focusing on that. They're trying to help these younger generations team up and purchase housing together.
Yeah, so I saw
Would you guys
you
do that?
share
Would you guys
that.
buy a home with a friend?
No.
I definitely would. And I saw you share that, and I mean, I think it's interesting. And I was thinking about it because, I mean, I think people are getting married later and later. I'm sure there's always exceptions, but I was thinking about like the married housing that I had access to in college. And there's not many colleges that have much of a selection when it comes to married housing. And I think that it's just dwindling out where there's not really much of a need for it at all. But like I had a full scholarship, so I was able to take advantage of, nearly free housing. I think I paid like $30 a month or something for the utilities. Now it was like a glorified dorm room, so it wasn't anything special, but yeah, so I think that with, this whole houses before spouses thing, I think if you're, thinking about getting married later in life, but thinking about investing in real estate earlier, then it makes a lot of sense to do that. And, it's a lot of parents would buy houses for their kids in college, and they would all split the rent, and then they would sell the house when the kid was done with school. But like, why not, if you're a college kid, like, why not go in with a friend and figure it out yourself? Like, I think that's a great way to get started. And I think you have to be more creative now anyways, so why not?
I think Joel quickly said no, he wouldn't.
He did.
I did. And it's looking at it from the standpoint
I
of
can't see or hear Joel.
maybe because you're on your phone.
Hmm.
Maybe I don't know.
Oh, maybe you can't fit enough on your phone.
But if you can't hear me, that's
If
a
you
different thing.
No, not yet.
Okay, so why wouldn't you, Joel?
So there's two reasons. One, I look at it from a perspective of, okay, if somebody wants to purchase a home, right? What's the creative way to get somebody over the hump that may be having a hurdle of doing it on their own? And I'll come back to that in a second. The second thing is that I've seen being in the business 18 years, I've seen so many situations of people calling me, hey, I bought a house with a friend. They want out, they want this. It would just be on a different page for what they want in the property, especially as you live in it and then people move on and it becomes a rental property. When it's a rental property, there's less options you can do on the financing, because let's say you buy a property, it's got a 4% rate, and now rates are at 6, but then it's an investment property. To refinance it, now it's at 7. So now to get you off the loan, I got to refinance into a 7% rate. That sucks. Or you can't qualify for it, or just it becomes a very much of a lot of headaches. And divorce, different things like that happen. There's a lot of different examples of where things can get sticky. The second thing is that if you're in a high cost area like California or New York or Hawaii, like that may be the only way you get into a house is by having creative solutions, right? So take that with a grain of salt. But like if you're living in a moderate area, and you want to be able to purchase real estate to be able to build wealth and build a portfolio, there are other ways, creative ways to be able to get you there to do it on your own. There's enough pool of renters out there to go buy a house and house hack and have renters, right? So what are the limiting factors? It's 1, cash, or 2, not having enough income to qualify. And if it's the cash, okay, go get a second job, go get a gift of funds from family members, etc. If it's income, go buy a duplex or a multifamily, use the other rents to help you qualify. So there's other different ways to get into real estate without having to have a partner, and enough of a pool of renters, in my opinion, to be able to do it without needing to do it to pay for the mortgage again. That's just very simple example, but if you can do it on your own, that's ideal. If the next best scenario is to do it joint, cool. But doing it on your own is ideal because it makes the back end way more simple in terms of what you do with the property long term.
Cool.
Any
Sorry,
thoughts?
I'm trying to. I guess I can't. No, I'm just still trying to play around with the StreamYard, and I like it. It's just I guess I can't reply to. I see a comment here from X or just someone that popped in, but I'm unable to reply to X from my feed. It looks like I can only reply to the YouTube comments, but I'll play around and try and figure it out. But yeah, I like this setup and still trying to play with how the screen displays too. Um, but yeah, for me, or MJ, do you have any thoughts on that? Would you buy a home with a friend or someone else?
Yeah, so I couldn't hear or see Joel. I think because, like you mentioned, because I'm on on my phone version, maybe it only just fit 3 people overall. So I don't know exactly what he said, but I would not buy with a friend a house or anything of that sort, because some people don't put in the same effort or got the same drive or ambition as you. And sometimes, it can just be lopsided. I just think that's a disaster waiting to happen. I get the idea, I get the concept of it. I wouldn't want to take that chance. I would just want to just do the hard work myself, figure it out myself, and get on the property ladder myself. I mean, but I don't discourage anybody from doing it. I just personally wouldn't do it. I just think it's either like they say, even like when you dating or something like that, somebody always seems to like the other person more. Or one, it's like it's never almost equal, almost right. I mean, obviously that's subjective, but I just don't. I know I trust myself. I know what I'm gonna do. I could depend on myself. Um, I just don't want nobody else, maybe freeloading off a deal or piggybacking off my hard work. So absolutely no for me.
Yeah, I think I feel the same way. But Steven here, he says most girls our age are quite superficial. So I think he's saying that would probably prevent him from, you know, buying a home or invest or buying something with a friend or a female friend. But yeah, I forget how old Steven is, but I'm 48, so we're quite big age difference, I think. But also Team Heck is asking if anyone invests in New York or California. Do you guys know anyone that invests those markets?
Hmm.
Yeah.
I know of people digitally, right? We're in the digital age, but not
Yeah,
personally. And that's
yeah,
probably in California. I don't know nobody digitally or in person in New York, California. Yeah.
yeah. See, Steven is 27. Man. He's like 20 years younger than me. Yeah. Let's see what else. Yeah, I don't know. Do you guys have anything else you guys want to talk? I have a few more things if you guys don't have any real estate related, I guess, but just gambling and life and money and yeah.
One of the things
So
that sticks out
I
in my
was
brain.
curious because I was looking up Hawaii because I want to go. I'm debating on when. How do you say the state fish of Hawaii? How do you say that? How you pronounce
Oh,
it?
Mikey's gonna type it. Mikey's gonna type it out for you guys. It's humu humu nuku nuku apua. Yeah. Good luck spelling that, man. We just
Wait,
call it
what?
the state fish.
Oh my God, so it's really
Yeah. So
pronounced like
if you
that. What?
you know that if you can pronounce it and spell it, then you get free food everywhere you go, right?
Wow.
No, I'm just joking.
27. Who is Steven?
Yeah.
Do
He's from Orlando. I don't know if well, maybe let me correct that. I don't know if he's from Orlando. He was living in Orlando. And he reached out to me and he was moving to Pitt. He reached out to me. He bought something in Pittsburgh. So he's house hacking in Pittsburgh right now. But he's
Gotcha.
in the
Okay.
ORAT kind of community. He's in the lives and um He
Yeah, I've
was on
seen
the
it.
call Wednesday night actually. Yeah,
Okay, I need to on Wednesday night.
yeah, Frank's one.
Yeah,
Oh,
I haven't been
MJ's
getting the
popped
link
off
for that.
now.
I need to figure out how to get back into it. I've been getting the emails, but I'm not getting the
Yeah,
link.
Frank doesn't invite me anymore. I think he thinks I disrupt the meetings.
Oh, I
But
finally see
I just brought.
Joel on my screen now.
Can you hear
Oh,
me too?
okay, maybe. Yeah, I
Yeah, I
don't know.
can hear you too as well. Yep.
Oh, okay. Maybe I just gotta bounce you out once in a while and then bring you back in. But yeah, Mike, I always bother Mikey. Hey, do you got the link? Yeah, but cool. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, we can wait for some comments, but I kind of want to goof around and talk about. I don't know if you guys saw the Toronto Raptors basketball player. What was his? I don't know his first name.
Dante
Porter.
Dante
He got
Porter. Yeah.
suspended.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys saw my Instagram thing. I guess his salary, so he got suspended for betting on basketball or the Raptors games or something like that to some extent. But basically, he had what almost close to like a $3 million maybe salary, I think. And then he was betting, and his net profits from the gambling was like 21,000. So basically, I don't know if he thought that out too well about what his winnings were going to be, but yeah, it's crazy how people don't realize what opportunities are given to them maybe, and they just kind of squander it away. But yeah, hopefully he can. Okay, I see Joe commented from X, but I'll play around with that. But yeah, I don't know. What you guys thoughts on that?
I got
I
some
know
thoughts on
Joe's the
it.
basketball guy. Yeah, well,
Yeah, well,
say it, man.
he played at University of Missouri. So like I live in St. Louis. That's it's one of my teams, right? And his brother is Michael Porter Jr. with the Nuggets. Like first
Hmm.
round pick, doing well, family's doing okay, good family, like hardworking. Sisters played at on the female women's team, like good people. And Jonte was having a good first year at Mizzou, tore his ACL, didn't get I think he got drafted. I forget, but he didn't play for like 3 years. Went overseas. Like he just got back to the NBA after this long journey of like trying to reprove himself, get healthy, and then you go do that. Like you're just made a couple $1 million. Now you go on and go do that. Like you shouldn't be taking those kinds of risks after all the shit you've been through. Like it's really unfortunate.
Yeah, I wonder if
Yeah.
he's gonna get to be able to still play overseas though.
I mean, I would imagine that's what he would do. I don't think there would be any restrictions.
Yeah. My opinion is that it sucks, and just to tell you what greed and impatience can do to any person. Like, I mean, you making what's his salary, Joel? About 3 million a year, you said?
I think his earnings to that point was like 2.1 based off of Mark's post, 2.1 million.
Yeah, but that's two
Yeah,
point
something
one
like that.
million for maybe 4 or 5 months. You're not making the playoffs. You might not be getting that much time. That's essentially a lot of damn money. So I mean, I get it. I mean, we all want things now. We're in a society that everything's need and have to be immediate. It's unfortunate, but he gotta pay the consequences, and the league gotta make an example out of him to discourage or deter other players from even thinking about it. So I mean, I think it was dumb. Obviously, it's easier said than done, but I just don't see, like you said, I didn't even know his back end story of him um, tearing his ACL, playing for the University of Missouri, pretty much battling to get back to the NBA, get on the team, and then you it's like you at the 1 yard line and you decide not to give it to Marshawn Lynch. It's just
Uh,
I just don't get it. Yeah, it sucks,
I
and
think that you might have been
I'm glad they're
gambling on
doing what they
that
got to
game.
do.
I bet. Did you bet on that game, CJ? Because I think you brought that up during our interview too, the Marshawn Lynch thing. Oh, he maybe can't hear me.
Who you referring the question to,
Or
Mark?
you're, to you, because you brought up Marshawn Lynch, and I think you brought that up when I interviewed you also. So I was wondering if you bet on that game.
No, I wasn't betting back then. No, I
Okay.
started betting later on. I'm kind of glad I started betting when I did before it kind of got real big and popularized. But no, I wasn't betting then. No.
So what's interesting is that us talking about real estate and wealth, and I mean, we probably need to get Jonte on a webinar together and like, okay, you got, because 2 million in earnings after taxes is like $1 million, right? Like, okay, now you
Yeah.
need to go buy some properties in Pittsburgh or Ohio, get linked up with some of our people we know, and start deploying some capital and get some cash flow, right?
Yes, sir. But Sierra, come on, tell Hyder you know what we're talking about.
Um,
He said he's lost also, but I believe in you, Sierra.
mhm. I mean, I know what basketball is, and I know what salaries are, and I know what betting is. So I mean, I'm following in that regard.
That's
All
enough.
right, good enough.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is.
I
it's
kind of
funny
had
because like
Oh,
a
my
Lars is
family's
here.
so
Welcome, Lars.
such a um sports family, and but I don't really follow the players at all. But
Yeah,
to go
I
back
actually
to a
saw it
question,
on Mark Ham.
Mikey asked earlier, Joel, how do you remain bankable if living in another country? When would it be a good time to make that move?
I mean, the
Oh,
biggest
there's
thing
I'll put
is verifiable income, right? And then having an American credit report. So keeping up with American credit cards, I don't really know what it's like to be able to use American US, Visa, American Express overseas. But as long as you can keep up having payments going, reporting on your US credit report, have verifiable income of some sort, um, those are the two, basics. Now, the second thing is that, if you're an investor and you're buying properties using a DSCR loan, which is just based off of your cash flow on the property, then it's just having a U.S. credit score. And then it's all based off of the property and the rent, and filing, making sure that you still file a tax return in the United States. And those are just some of the basics. So it's doable. Just got to keep having accounts based in the U.S. When you should do it, I mean, how much cash reserves does somebody have? How many months of reserves? At that point, a year reserves, just a guess.
Yeah, just move, Mikey, if you're in love and want to get married, like go for it. Don't wait until you have all the reserves.
Ooh, look at that.
So there's his question. I don't know where it disappeared on me, and I found it. But yeah, here's Mikey's question, and yeah, Mikey's gonna end up in Japan anyways. On his $2,500 budget or whatever he says is going to be cost of living for him. So I just also noticed I've been reading all these stuff too. So I guess X is not set up to reply to comments. So Joel, I see you posted a comment here, but the platform doesn't allow me to comment on X yet.
Okay, that's unfortunate.
So, yeah. I'm sure it's something they're working on. Let's see, Lars. I'm going to pop this up there.
Because it says there's 73
Lars, he was
viewers
in Iceland.
on Twitter.
83 is showing up on my side.
Okay.
So Lars was in Iceland for 8 months last year and charged a lot to his credit card, paid it off as well, and buy a rental from overseas. So what do you guys think of this yard stream? No, stream yard. What I do notice though is I think it freezes up a little bit more than Zoom. So I don't know if that's my connection or what, but
Yeah, when you have been freezing up, like Joel has not been. So it's not like everyone freezing at the same time. But yeah, I did notice that. And I don't know if that has to do with like the more people you have on.
yeah. Yeah.
but I
Well,
like it otherwise.
anything else you guys want to? Any? Yeah. Any topics you want to bring up, Sierra? Then, since maybe you were left out on the last one, maybe.
On the basketball topic.
Yeah, because
Um,
my next one was going to be basketball again, so we'll let you chime in with one.
no, go ahead. I can BS my way through it.
I have one question, one more real estate
No,
question before we get
yeah,
into
go
sports.
ahead, man.
So, to everybody, what is your biggest fear for this year or next, as far as the real estate marketing and investing? Like, what's one of your biggest fears in general?
Hmm.
I think for me it would be like if I wanted to sell a property to get the equity out and maybe do a different deal, how long or slow it would be to get that property moved. I mean, I know that inventory is low and um, there's lots of demand, but I think it's at least things are sitting on the market longer because of rates, right? So it's taking people longer to get financing together or to find out, to find a way to purchase. So I think having to, um, I, at least in my experience, every time I've went to sell, it's been extremely fast. Only have it listed a couple days, and so the thought of like having to list a property and like set on it for 60 days or 90 days is kind of like I want it to be faster than that.
So you saying
I
just
think for
selling the
me,
property in general, just getting your profit, just selling and getting a profit wise? You just don't want to wait to have to continue to pay the mortgage while you get it under contract and sell it, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah, basically because I think that, at least for, like, the rental property, having the tenants in I wouldn't wanna have tenants in there because I think it makes it a harder sell because it would be more as far as getting a better profit on it, going to a first-time home buyer, they would probably pay more than an investor would, and so having to get the tenants out and then cover the mortgage while it's up for sale and dealing with the timing of, you know, however the market decides to be at that moment. Uh, it just, I think the whole process is a lot. There's a lot more variables because it's not like interest rates are staying the same and people know what to plan for. And so I think it just makes it a little bit more uncertain. And um, I feel like it will eat into the profit having to sit on it longer.
I never thought about that because I never thought about selling, but that's a good point, though. That's actually a good point.
yeah, I think for me, my biggest fear, I guess, what I'm worried about is just all these rising costs of things, insurance, and even just getting work done now, like labor. Everything is getting so expensive, and it's like nickel and diming a lot of the profits that I was making, or the cash flow that I was making. And it's like I feel like I increase rent on a property, and then I get another notice that comes in that, oh, your property tax is going up. So it's like, you're taking one step forward and then it's like two steps back. And so I don't know if it's so much of a fear, but it's just all these little things, like little costs that are going up, and it's getting harder to find deals, and it's getting harder to find things that are making sense. And I think that's also why maybe, like, Bitcoin and the stock market are doing really well, because people are kind of like, the deals for real estate are kind of hard to find or come by right now. And even like if I want to rehab or flip a property, it's like all these higher costs that are going into it. It's almost like crypto and the stock market is a kind of a better place to store my money right now without having to worry about all these other extra costs that come into play. And I think that might be propping up those asset classes also a little bit too right now.
Yeah, that's a good point too, Mark. Like you say, if one thing is off or going down or not as steady, the other seems to be the opposite. So, like, as far as the asset classes, you say real estate. Obviously, the prices is staying as is, and the interest rates are going higher. But on the back end, you can possibly dip some money into crypto or some stocks and have less risk and stress with your money versus the stress sometimes that comes with real estate.
Have you guys renewed any leases recently? Like, have you guys got rent increases on your guys' properties?
Yeah, I got a Section 8 tenant that I got a rent increase on after being denied initially. Um, but so like Lumberjack always says, sometimes you got to do the work for the housing authority and places and cities. So um, it was a $70 increase, but I'll take it. But I had to show them three or four similar, properties listing as mine that was at certain rates to get the increase, and they approved me, immediately, via the email. And emails are very important when doing business on any sort of level because it holds people accountable. But to simply answer your question, yes, I got one increase with the Section 8.
Yeah. So
Cool. Yeah, I
my
think I
four families here in St.
had
Louis.
about 4 or 5. Go ahead, Joe.
I wasn't sure if you were freezing. Yeah, I was just saying I've had a couple, opportunities to upgrade a few units on my quadplexes here in St. Louis, and been able to increase rents. A couple of them I was able to completely redo, and I think I spent like $20K a unit, and increased rents by like 25%. They were probably under rented long term tenants. But then on one of my buildings, I've got, and these are like built in the 30s, and so one of the units have intertwined electrical. So I've got two units that are vacant that are renovated, but just waiting to get the electrical part figured out to get renters in there. So another thing that pops up in real estate, but it is what it is.
All right. So Lars has a question, and I'm not sure if any one of us have experience with this situation. But let's see. So Lars is asking, what due diligence would you do before buying a house on a private well? I came across a possible deal that is on private well, but I am not sure what gotchas could come up. So anybody has some thoughts or experience with this? I mean, my initial thought would be just from a contamination standpoint. That's kind of my thing as far as the water, and I'm not sure if it's going to be water that's being used still yet, but yeah, just kind of check what kind of hazards from that standpoint, if this is any affecting the soil and whatnot, or in that area. That's going to be my initial thought.
Yeah, I would definitely have a water treatment person test the water. And it, depending on what areas you're in, there's different things to be on the lookout for, right? So there's some stuff up in the Northeast that would cause like the potential for radon to be leaking in. It just depends on what area you're in, but having it tested is a great step. But like private well water is great because then you don't have a water bill. So I mean that definitely is nice for, I guess, the tenants if they're living there, or however you want to view that. I can ask. I know that the Steven that I know, not the Steven in the chat, does water treatment stuff and is a plumber and has a private well at his property. So
Scott?
yeah, I don't know if he's still in the chat anymore.
Scott?
But yeah. Steven Scott, whatever you want to call him. But he has a private well, so I think he would be able to answer that question specifically. Oh, yeah, there he is.
Oh, he's there. There he is. See, he heard Scott and he popped right back in.
Okay, so the question is, if you're buying a property that has a private well, what potential gotchas would you look for, or what kinds of things would you make sure to look for if the property has a private well?
Find it.
So I'm sure he'll answer that in the chat, Lars.
Okay. I saw another question from Steven. A different Steven. Where did it go? I think it was about how do you vet a contractor. Oh, there you go. So there. It's from Steven. So how do you guys vet contractors?
I don't. I do all the work myself.
That's right. Yeah. What about you,
Well,
MJ? You had any encounters with some contractors or bad experiences?
well, not contractors, but maybe handyman per se that do work around the building that happen here and there. How do I vet them? Um, it's pretty hard, essentially. I'll try to. I think people look at me, they see I'm young, they just see I'm just. They don't think I got as much knowledge as I have, and they just try to just try me all the time. Whether it's landscaping, whether it's just to fix some drywall, some paint, it's just like just try to overcharge me off the rip. So what I normally do is say, well, hey, I talked to two, three other handyman contractors in the area. This is what they price me. I'm just trying to see what's out here, so they can gather, so they can have an idea of like, that I got some type of knowledge and I got some type of back, and I'm not the only option. Sometimes people feel like you all they got, so they try to, have your backs against the ropes sometimes, which is unfair, but it's a part of the business of nature. So even if I have a quote or not, I say I have a quote just to kind of level the playing field.
Yeah, make a chat GPT quote or something. Just, hey, this is what I got from someone else. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, so Lars, Stephen made some comments or to your question. So maybe if you can check that out, see what else we got going on in here. But yeah, I think somebody mentioned it in the comment section also. I think the biggest thing for vetting a contract, I think, is really just your network. I think that really helps out quite a bit. Knowing other investors or talking with other investors or just knowing other people that are in your market, and people sharing notes and passing notes or talking about who. So I think not a contractor, but someone that I knew that was investing in Pittsburgh had a pretty bad experience with another property management company. So for me, that's kind of, I don't tell people not to reach out to these individuals. I just say, hey, this is something that somebody that I know encountered with them, and that's the experience we've had using this property management company. So I think it's super helpful, networking. And I think that's what we're all trying to do here: network and get connections and kind of bounce ideas off of. Let's see. Cool. Well, I mean, I also wanted to kind of chat or talk about. I don't know if you guys saw Caitlin Clark, for WNBA being the number one pick, and kind of the big thing is the wage discrepancy between the NBA and the WNBA, and some people are very upset at the big wage gap there. So let's Sierra talk about that. From a
I mean,
female's
at the end of the
perspective and
day,
what she thinks about that.
yeah. So my view on athletics or sports as a profession, right, is that you're in the entertainment industry, and if your entertainment, puts a certain price on a ticket and a certain amount of people in the audience and a certain amount of viewers on TV, then you're going to be paid accordingly for that. So when I think about entertainment and that industry, you can look at different concert or different artists, and Ed Sheeran is going to make a lot more money, or Taylor Swift is going to make a lot more money because they're filling a lot more seats and have a lot more attention. um, and that's just part of that industry, but that doesn't mean that you can't go pay every single artist the same amount of money because they're in the same industry versus like when it comes to, so I kind of view it like that. I know that teams are obviously owned by people, and then there's college teams, and there's different trajectories for the men and the women. So it's, I understand it from a equality thing, if you want to say like, these are the same position, but as far as entertainment goes, like that's just kind of how that works.
Jason in the comments is getting riled up. He says, "Don't get me started." What do you guys think, Joe? I know Joe has a lot to
On
say about this
the
rally.
made up wage gap.
I'm looking. Oh, okay, I see.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think it's interesting
And
conversation when
then
you look at, okay, women's basketball as a offshoot of the NBA. There's a sharing of revenue, right? And okay, TV contracts, tickets. I mean, there's going to be a severe discrepancy in terms of the revenue from men's and women's. So I think that's a little bit more clear cut. Where I think where you get more of a deeper conversation is like women's or men's national soccer, right? Where like it's once every 4 years, it's the same amount of games, same amount of situations of coverage, tickets, TV, and like I think there may have been a game or two where the women's team had more views, better ratings than the men's, and if there's a disparity of pay when you're talking about the revenue generated from that scenario, we've got a finite amount of games and it's simpler to kind of analyze. I think that's because it becomes more of something to dig deeper on. But like WNBA versus the NBA, I mean, the revenue just speaks the entire conversation. I mean, the revenue, it is what it is. So
MJ, you got anything on this?
Absolutely, I got my 2 cents on this subject. So, I kind of piggyback off what Sierra was saying. Let me first mention though the women college game has got better and it got getting a lot more viewerships in the recent years of competitiveness. And they say whether it's Angel Reese or the South Carolina team that went undefeated, I think 36, 37 and 0, or Caitlin Clark being #1 draft pick, and things of that sort. It's getting a lot of attention, getting a lot of viewership. I believe the WNBA CBA, the collective bargaining agreement, expires next season, which is a good thing because Caitlin Clark will be playing in another month, a month and a half, and I guess depending on these college talents coming out and coming to the WNBA, depending on how they perform and how the viewership go up, they can have some type of ammo going into their CBA to get better salaries for these women basketball players. I mean, comparing apples to oranges, I mean obviously it's 82 games in NBA and it's maybe like half of that in WNBA. Not as many people is tuned in and it's not driving us so much revenue as Joel and Sierra mentioned as well. But I think he got the potential and is on his way to newer heights. However, we can argue that the salary should be increased significantly, but these women are got NIL deals, which is kind of bridging the gaps where they got an endorsement with Gatorade or Nike that's paying them a couple of $1 million a year. So they making big bucks more than they have ever, and it's kind of bridging the gaps with the deals they got on the side outside of the WNBA salaries.
I agree. And I think we riled a lot of people up in the comments. So we got Daryl, janitor on fire, saying WNBA sucks. And then we got Jason, the NBA pays for the WNBA to exist. They lose money every game, but they're not lying. I mean, that's kind of how it is in a sense, a little bit, right? Um, but the one thing too, I mean, not so much on the wage side of it. I'm kind of like shocked at how much hate Caitlin Clark is getting. Like how they have this, like the females have this opportunity to promote, probably one of their more exciting players to come out in a long time, and yet they're all just hating on her. Like so many people in their own league. It's just hating on her, and it just seems weird to me.
What are they hating on her for?
I mean, almost like she doesn't deserve all this attention, or it's kind of like wait till she gets to the real league and then see how she performs, and it's almost like a jealousy type of thing, from my opinion.
Yeah, not to sound sexist, but I mean, I think it kind of got more to do with just being a woman thing. Women, I mean, we all competitive, I get it, but women kind of sometimes ultra competitive, want to be number one, and sometimes they don't have the spotlight. It's like, well, they try to rain on somebody else's parade. Men, I feel like in the sports world, at least in basketball, where I can specifically speak to, I think it's a little bit more shared. Like, well, hey, this guy got talent. He's 6'3", 6'4", can jump out the gym. This guy can shoot. This guy can dribble. This guy can play make. I think with women, it's like since it's coming up into this new era, because it is a new era with just people just being more in tune and starting to get some type of traction from the viewership. It's just like everybody want to be number one, everybody want to be first. So it's a big it's just competitive, and a lot of people just don't want to accept the fact that, I mean, she played 3 years at Iowa. She averaged almost 30 points, if not more. And I mean, she's just, her resume speaks for itself. And I just think a lot of people don't want to accept it. Numbers are numbers. Numbers don't lie, right? So, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, especially with, I mean, when it comes to men's basketball, right? Like, there's a star on every team, and there's great players everywhere, and everyone talks about the dozens of amazing men's basketball players, and I can see in the WNBA how you have to be, top three in the entire sport to really stand out or get talked about, um, and I can see from like what you're saying, like all of these women are dedicating a crazy amount of hours, right, to their sport, and um want some sort of recognition for that. And if there's only going to be 3 or 4 people versus 30 or 40 people maybe in men's basketball who are going to get some recognition, like how much more competitive that must feel.
Exactly. Exactly.
One of the things that I saw after the fact, so LSU was the previous champion, and I
That's
think they
correct.
returned the majority of their roster or whatnot. And Iowa played LSU. I think it was this to get into the Final Four, maybe. I forget the game. And like LSU walked off during the national anthem, and there was all this hoopla about that. And I don't really know much about that part, but there's a lot of hate going towards LSU about that. And then after the game, because Iowa obviously won the game, and I think a few days later, there was comments about one of their LSU star players talking about how much hate that she had received over the
The
summer and
course of the
fall,
season. Yeah.
because they beat Iowa in the finals, and for whatever reason they were receiving all kinds of hate. So there's all this like supercharged stuff going on between these two teams, and there's more than that, but I'm just that's one thing I saw.
Yeah, a lot of back and forth, and just wanting to be, like Sierra said, the top 4 or 5 players, because they understand that the game is evolving as far as women's sports. They just want to be the face of that. So it's a battle. It's a war. Everybody wants those few positions that's available.
I have a question for Mark. So you know how like you know you hit 40 in sports and like you're ancient, right? Like Steph Curry's 36 and they didn't even get into the playoffs. Like they're all getting old. And I was heartbroken that the Warriors lost in the playing game. And then you have the exceptions to the
Are you
rule.
talking to me?
Like, oh no, I'm getting there. Hold me. And then you have exceptions like LeBron, who like just don't even age, and he's like 39, still playing at an elite level. So like sometimes you just gotta know when to call it quits. When you get up there in age, you just gotta know when to call it quits. Like, I mean, I'm 40, so I got some more years. But like when you're as old as Mark, like when do you know to call it quits and just pack it in?
I'm not really sure how to take this question, but no, I just talked about this with someone else that that's even more, I think, like LeBron, he is just a freak of nature, and he is just a specimen, and I don't know if there will ever be a player like him that's going to be able to have that type of longevity. But for me, just from the fire department, that's even more so why part of me wants to get out earlier. And I don't know if you guys know Derek Sherrill, the ADU guy, but he never says he retired from the fire department. He always says he left. Right? He just, it was time for him to leave. He was doing other things. For me, it's kind of like I used to always keep myself in good shape, and I still try to, but definitely not to the same extent as I used to. Now that I'm trying to do this YouTube stuff and X and real estate, but I really notice like just from 40 to 45, I never thought the job would be hard, but it's caught up to me. And I think that's also why you are supposed to get promoted. And I never, maybe I should have focused on trying to get promoted earlier in my career, but I think that's just the stepping that you kind of, that's another message I would tell to the younger guys. That right now, you love what you're doing, and maybe you don't want to get promoted, but you got to think of it from a career standpoint. And I think that is also why you should be focused on getting promoted, because you can only fight Father Time so much. And you know, Joe basically called me out and said I'm old as dirt, saying that can't do my job anymore. But it's kind of true, right? I mean, I think you are supposed to get promoted, and it's going to force you to get promoted in a sense. And I think that's kind of another mistake I probably made, is that I thought I could do this forever. I thought like, I keep in great shape, and this job's going to be easy. And then just 5 years, man, it really caught up on me. But thanks for calling me out, Joe.
No, I think this is a great segue.
But you're not too far behind.
I mean, it started with me just being in just pure pain after the Warriors lost, so I just had to like throw it at you because I knew you could take it. No, but like, there's a gentleman that I had on my podcast. His name is DeMarco Anderson. He had 2 full-time jobs in IT, multiple screens going, making good money, stockpiling cash, and he bought 5 properties in basically 5 years across 2 different states, all as primary residences. And talking to him, it was like, I know that I can't work this much forever, but I'm doing it now so that I can plant these seeds for the future, so I can take the foot off the gas pedal, in the future. And especially if you're in the trades and have to work with heavy labor or outside or whatever, it's like, especially now, people that are plumbers or concrete workers, like, you can make more money now than ever before as the shortage of labor is out there. So if you're doing these jobs, what can you do now to plant seeds so that way you can let off the gas pedal in the future?
Yeah, that's a good point. And even with trucking, sometimes I'm young, I'm 31, know my time coming, but like every winter I get the reality check, like, is this what I really want to do? Just because of the dangers that come with driving in different terrains, black ice, snow, etc. So I always try to make it my mind to, stay disciplined, continue to save my money and have an end goal, because time will come whether we like it or not. And I don't want to do this. I mean, the money's great, the benefits great, et cetera, but it's like, what can I do to get out this or put myself in a safer position time when it comes or whatever. So I do agree, and that's why I do like to drive more during the spring and summer, because the roads are more better overall, and take it easy in the fall and winter. But that's a good point. You bring up, Joel.
Think I hit 400. Somebody subscribed, I just saw, but I don't
All
know.
right.
Maybe
Nice.
because Joe called me out and someone felt bad. Maybe it was some senior
Teamwork.
citizen out there
That's what teamwork's
subscribed.
all about.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to
No,
get
yeah,
400?
but yeah, I think. Oh man, she's a year and a half, maybe, I think. But I was only at before Zuber's event, Sierra. Do you remember what I was at? And I kind of was like, I don't even know if I was at 200 at that time,
Yeah,
or
I
it was
think
close to 200 maybe.
you were
So,
approaching 250 maybe, because I think it was close to after that where you hit 250. And I think I remember Joel
mm,
saying you're 25% of the way there, something like that.
yeah. So it's been yeah. So it's been pretty rapid from the 250 to 400. So like even Zuber commented on one of my things like yeah, it starts gaining momentum, but probably the first 500 does seem really slow. Like it's a lot of work and then it just starts picking up a lot quicker. So even like getting to 400 this I think I started this month at maybe like 350 or something and I was hoping to get to 400 by the end of this month. So that's pretty good that I got there. But thanks all of you folks for, stopping by and supporting and you know not canceling me yet, getting canceled yet.
I'm so thankful you have
But now
gotten
we're just
better.
waiting for MJ's channel to come out. Yeah, well, because we put Justin Camera held him accountable, so he came out with his YouTube channel. And so MJ, do you want to throw a date out there when yours is gonna come out?
So I'm the type of person I feel like to talk on things you need receipts and you have to have done it, to an extent. And I mean, I'm interested in a lot of topics: trucking, sports, the real estate, et cetera, et cetera. However, perhaps when I close my second deal, I feel like I got a little bit, I got two deals I got under my belt, maybe then, but just to be featured on your All Star show is good enough for the moment, So, I'm gonna ride your wave, and everything ain't for everybody, and I would be a featured guest. I would be happy with that position as of now. I just feel like I haven't accomplished enough to really
What?
talk about it on a consistent basis. I don't know. I don't know. I mean,
I'm gonna challenge you right there. People, I want to hear somebody. I'm sure many people want to hear somebody that's in the middle of their journey, right? You've done stuff. You've done more than most.
yeah.
So,
Yeah,
like,
and that's the thing is like there's a difference between, trying to talk about it every week versus just documenting your personal journey and sharing it with people. And then there's not really the pressure to like I need to speak about this topic every week. It's just, you're sharing your story and making sure that it's out there to help someone else.
Uh, Joel and Sierra, what was the turning points for you to make you guys platform, whatever that may be, whether it was X, YouTube, whatever? What was the turning point that you said, hey, I just got to make one to document? What was the
Yeah, for me it was I was I wanted to get my first rental property and I was seeing a lot of content from experienced investors and wasn't seeing any content from someone who was just starting during this like shifting market. And so for me um it just felt like it was something that I wanted to do to say like, okay, well, I don't really know if it's going if it's going to succeed or fail, but I'm going to at least put it out there that like this what I'm going through to try to get my first rental property now. Because it was really hard to relate to the really seasoned investors because they got started at such a different time where things were a little bit more predictable, at least. Not that there weren't always challenges, but yeah, it just seemed like this was a new set of challenges and there wasn't anyone talking about how to get started that was relatable. Like it's easy in hindsight, but you forget what those those newbie hurdles are, I should say.
okay? Yeah, that
yeah, I
sounds
mean,
kind of like similar to Millennial Mike a little
We
bit.
got
what'd you say?
we got
No,
firefighter Brett stopping by. He must be in between his naps at the station, or he must be on the engine today. I don't know if he's still here, but Janitor on Fire, he's been a big supporter. But if anyone's out there, you can go check out his sister channel, Brandy Bakey Cakey.
Okay.
So
Nice.
she's trying to build her brand out there too. And Team Heck, he's funny. I like him. He says, MJ,
Team
that's
Heck,
how
is
it. I'm
that
going to share this one. I'm going to show it. That's how
Team
it
Heck?
works, MJ. I
What's
heard of Mark from Hugo. I heard of Sierra from Hugo. Now I hear about you, MJ, from Mark. I haven't seen Joe before, though. Laugh out loud.
Who's that from?
Team Heck?
Oh,
What's your
You know why? Because Joe has
Heck's
like
name?
5 names. That's why.
I got one name.
No, you got a lot going on.
It's because no, you have like 5 X names, and well, I shouldn't talk because MJ got like 10 names. I'm trying to tag him all the time, and I'm like, man, what name is he on Facebook, and what name is he on Instagram?
So the idea comes with I just don't want to lose my wallet and people be able to look me up. You got to know me to know me. So that's how I just feel for the moment.
Well,
Guys,
yeah, I'm
I
like
gotta
trying to
pause for a
tag you.
second.
Yeah, man. Brett says, "Oh, we don't work now." Oh, he's working on his rentals today. Yeah, I feel you, man. Brett's a funny guy. I'm gonna bounce Joe
Mark,
out of
if
here
it's
so his stuff's not
possible,
showing.
if you can contact me with the other investor that's in Chicago, I think his name Jason.
Jason. Oh yeah, man. Of course.
Jason, I'm not for sure how to
Yeah.
pronounce the last name. Calacibeta.
Yeah,
It sounds
I don't even try.
Italian or
Jason C.
Spanish, maybe.
That's why I call him Baby Dion. It's easier. Yeah. So yeah, why are you changing again? Because your hair? I mean, the back or what?
Well,
What's
the
the
black,
ordeal? You
yeah,
just
no,
want to change it up again?
well, that's why I don't have black right now. But in the background, it makes the lighting so much harder, and so because my hair matches the background essentially in the other studio. So, but no, I needed another setup in another room, so that's what I'm working on. I meant to have my sign in here today, but it didn't happen.
Ooh,
And I have this little thing up here that's going to be a
yeah.
subscribe sign, so I'm working on that this weekend.
I was gonna ask
That's what I
Sierra.
got. I
That
keep,
look like
you know,
a nice quality mic you have there.
Well, thank you. I feel like it works pretty good.
whoa.
From Amazon. Any suggestions for like a newer beginners like myself as far as like, cause I'm gonna get a setup similar to use and Mark as far as the area, but like just the simple technology you guys use, mics, headphones, etc., etc.
Yeah, this is the HyperX Duocast, and I want to say it was around the $125 mark, maybe around $100 now, because I've had it a year, so there's probably a newer version of it available, but I got it from Target on some sale and had a gift card, so it didn't break the budget. But yeah, I really like the sound of it, and it's very plug and play, not hard to set up or anything.
Question for
And as far as
Sierra.
huh?
No, there's a question. I mean, you're gonna bring in new
Oh, do I
followers.
game?
Just say yes, you
Is that like
do.
a code word for the
Just say
youngins,
yes.
like if you're married or not? Is it like code? Snack?
Gaming?
Hamu? Hamu?
Well, he's thinking humu, but yeah, just say yes.
Yeah.
Name off some games that you game.
Oh yeah, I'm a big
Oh,
gamer. I watch my son play lots of games. No, so I don't really game. That's the truth. I portrayed myself as a gamer for almost 2 years, because I was making merchandise for gamers, and so I was big in the old school RuneScape community and made a lot of designs and merchandise for that. So that's the one game that I have like a little bit of a niche for, but Other than that, I just watch my kiddo play Minecraft and Farming Simulator and Roblox.
I don't know what's with everyone's name in Chicago, but MJ, Daryl Janner on Fire said, check out Dominic Costeris.
Yes, I met him. I met him before
Yeah.
with Millennial
Okay.
Mike in Indiana. Yeah, I know he is. Thank you.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. But Sierra, that's how you know Behringer, right? From
Mhm.
what was that game you just mentioned? That's
From
kind of how you
RuneScape.
guys connected, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
he definitely plays the game. I never even really played it, but he had bought something from me, I think, initially when my store was really active, and that then kept following me for the real estate stuff. And I didn't know he was in real estate until I switched over. So that's how. But he really knows his market. He's very knowledgeable on Atlanta.
Yeah, I like him. He's a funny guy.
Uh, Going to because we kind of got off subject a little bit. Joel, you was gonna mention or bring about how you got into like the side, about your platforms, YouTube, X, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, someone asked me this question recently about why I decided to put stuff out there, and I thought about it for a second. I was just kind of explaining, and it's like, you know, I was making money in sales in, 2009, 10, 11, 12, in the mortgage industry, saving money, bought a house because that's what you're supposed to do. Scared as hell because I didn't know when my next paycheck was going to happen. Being in a commission job like that, and then did it again and did it again. And it's like, looking back on it, if I can do this, and I don't know anything, coming from nothing, if I can do this by just focusing on increasing income and saving and having a plan, then anybody can do it. And the sequence of events that have happened in my world have led to different things, and getting into Florida and a short-term rental and just cool stuff. And it's like, if I can do this shit, anybody can do it. And just, I didn't have a mentor, didn't have anybody along my journey to help me, just kind of just by luck, things happened. And if I can do it, why can't somebody else? And just being there to be able to be a resource for somebody else. And then that's the why. But then the fear of, yes, do not hit me up later. No, don't do that. No, but
You're
the imposter
famous,
syndrome,
man.
like, why would anybody listen to me? Why would anybody think that I have something to say? All these people have been doing it better and more, and Tony Robbins and Stephen Covey and all these thought leaders. And there was a book by Tim Grover. It's called Winning, and he talks about how Kobe and Jordan look at time differently than most people. Most people, when they have a deadline, they count down to a deadline, 3, 2, 1, oh shit, half-ass something to the finish line. And I'm guilty of that in many ways. But the greats, they can focus on a vision or a journey or a mission, and they look at it differently. They count up to deadlines, day 1, day 100, day 1,000 on a journey, and they don't stop till they get there. And that's what separates those people from the rest. And I started thinking, like, I'm in mortgage. I see people every single day that want to buy a house but can't because they don't have their shit together, don't have their savings or credit. It's like, well, if I'd have been talking to a year ago, we could have been putting a plan together. 56% of Americans don't have $1,000 saved. So clearly, all the thought leaders haven't been able to connect or reach everybody. So it's my job to then go find the people who need my help. And that was the turning point of, okay, it's time to see what I can do to help somebody.
Got it. Thank you. I just never heard
Uh,
the backstory on it, so thank you for that.
MJ, Jason asked, were you in Gary in March with Millennial Mike?
No, not this March. It was maybe last year sometime. I saw him maybe on 2 or 3 occasions. It was one time Dion came up here, and then it was another time I think he came by himself. But no, not the recent one in March. No.
Okay. And yes, if everyone doesn't know, go check out the Hit Me Up video of Joel. And here's a nice one from BuzzTune for Joel. Yes, Joel is that guy. He's the only lender I talk to that talks about the long-term game plan. He's a great lender.
Appreciate it.
from BuzzTune. Yeah, well, this was fun. Oh, MJ popped out. Oh, he's popping back in. Yeah, anything else you guys want to talk about? Any topics? Anything fun you guys are working on? Or yeah, I keep making excuses about building out more of a actual studio type thing because every time I'm like, I'm gonna move out of here soon anyways, and I just keep putting it off. But yeah,
Did you see the
maybe when
comment they asked about the sports fans? Has that been a worse team than Pittsburgh Pirates over the last 20 years, 20 seasons?
I did. So I am an Indians fan actually for baseball. Sorry, they're not the Indians anymore. That might offend someone, but it's the Guardians. But I call them the Indians. But yeah, Pittsburgh is horrible. Like they are like very cheap the ownership, but they have a lot of young studs right now, and they have some good young players. Okay, hold on, Joe had to bounce. So let's try this real quick. Well, I don't like that look right there. What else we got? I'm trying to play around with those different settings. Oh, there we go. See, I don't like this one though because now the logo shows up on Sierra, and I think that, but not a big deal. But yeah. So Joe had to bounce, so he had to go pick up the kids. So he said hit him up later. Um, but yeah, so the Pittsburgh Pirates have some good young talent, and since we're on this, I've been talking to a few people recently, interviewing them for real estate stuff, but they are actually doing like they also do like trading cards, like sports cards, as kind of like a like another asset class that they invest in. And kind of got me intrigued, and I'm kind of wanting to look down that route a little bit more. But yeah, because I guess maybe I'm scarred a little bit because when I was younger and I collected sports cards, it was maybe the late 80s, early 90s, and that era was very saturated. The company just kind of like housing. There was if you have too much inventory, values are gonna be go down, or it's not gonna be worth as much. And that's kind of what happened with the sports card industry at that time. There was mass producing these products, and the values of these cards were not really worth anything. But like today, they're so limited. There's like one of five or one of 10, and you have guys that have only played like 1 year in the league, and their cards are selling for like $10,000. I know the guy I was talking about. He bought a few cards that were like $180 last year, and he just sold them for like 1,800 this year. So I got me kind of interested because
Wow.
I do like sports, and I'm like, oh, this one might be fun to kind of dabble in, and another asset class. And it was funny. I don't know if you guys follow like Patrick Bet David, but
Yep, yep.
he had Peter Schiff on his channel, and yeah, and he's a big gold guy, right? And he's not a crypto guy, but Patrick Bet David was talking to him about, okay, if you had these three certain cards that might have equaled to $1 million, there was like Zion Williamson and I forget what other cards, and then he said, or you could have like $1 million in Bitcoin, or $1 million, I believe, in real estate, or gold, right? I think it was gold. Like, which would you have? And of course, Peter Schiff said gold because that's his thing. But he's like, oh yeah, I would take the sports cards over Bitcoin because to me, it's an actual tangible asset, and it has intrinsic value and whatnot. But it was interesting, so I kind of might start dabbling in some sports cards and whatnot and see how that goes.
Mark. So speaking of Pittsburgh, I know it's like a more of
Yes.
affordable city to invest and live in. Having a stadium there because they got the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Pittsburgh Pirates and Pittsburgh Penguins too, right? Um, do that
Mhm.
add value or have that added value to properties within that city because it's all within the same city per se?
Yeah, I think it adds some value, but that's not really, I think, what brings the most value to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is kind of known for it's a growing like healthcare industry, and even like a tech hub now. So it's kind of being marketed as kind of like that West Coast tech industry area for kind of that Northeast area. So that's what's attracting a lot of businesses to the Pittsburgh area. and they're still lenient on like short-term rentals like Airbnb. So a lot of people are still doing short-term rentals, and I guess I don't know exactly. I could be saying it wrong, but I guess because of the rivers in that Pittsburgh area, they have a lot of like regatta type events, I think. So there's a lot of times like the short-term rental market, there's a lot of people that come for those events, and that's why the Airbnb does pretty well over there, I heard.
Okay, I was just curious because they got three major sporting events, but then I know it's a different type of like affordable market. So I was just trying to figure out how to do that, go into that. But you said they're kind of focusing on healthcare more than not because most small cities don't have sports teams. If so, they may have one. Yeah, I got three, so that's why I found that kind of
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah. It's a secret still yet, man. Don't be talking about Pittsburgh, man.
Pittsburgh makes a lot of real estate lists lately, I've noticed. So I feel like it's not going to be a
Yeah, yeah.
secret market much longer.
Yep. Don't forget to hit the like button, Brett said. Firefighter guy stepping up. All right. See, Millennial Mike would never do something like that. Too into himself, those police guys. Nah. Lars said Pittsburgh Pirates will sell the players before team actually gets good. Yeah, that is right. Yeah. I mean, you got to think about they had Barry Bonds, Bobby Bonilla. Yeah, that's another topic. I don't. Maybe I got to look it up. But are you guys familiar with like Bobby Bonilla's history or story about his contract?
No.
No, no,
He
I'm
was
not.
during that, I believe, that burnt. Yeah, so he still gets paid like I said, I could be wrong, but he still gets paid like $3 million a year. So he doesn't even play. He hasn't played in like 10 years, but he had like a deferred salary where yeah, and this was during like the Bernie Madoff era and all of that. But anyways, yeah, so he's getting paid. I forget what year his contract actually expires, but he took this certain payment plan for his salary, and yeah, I mean, he's get paid millions still yet every year, and he
Wow.
doesn't even play anymore. It's crazy. But that was when he was with the Mets, though he wasn't with the Pirates at that time. But yeah, the Pirates had some good teams in the early '90s, and yeah, they didn't want to pay anyone back then, so a lot of those guys left.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, I
see,
know
Janitor on Fire
I've
said he is still getting paid.
I've mentioned this before, but my dad was drafted to play Major League Baseball, and
Indians,
at the
right?
time he was, huh? There were several teams. That was one
Wasn't
of
it the
them.
Indians? Oh,
I think he's got like 8 or 10 letters, but he didn't go play because he was like, "Oh, well, I didn't know how much like professional baseball players were going to make, and so it didn't seem like a very good career choice." And I was like, "Wow, what a reason." Cuz professional sports just ended up, you made good money.
yeah. Well, with baseball, because they have so many, the minor leagues and so many levels, a lot of it too is, if you're not drafted very high, then you're not getting that signing bonus and whatnot. So, and it could take a while to get there. And like a lot of times, I know guys that got drafted, and it's like they don't get drafted high enough. So it's almost like you have to outperform these higher round draft picks even more because there's so much more money vested in these higher drafted players. So you're kind of starting behind the 8 ball. But and a lot of same thing. A couple of these guys I know got drafted, they didn't go just like your father. But it's kind of like if you don't love it, I think if it's not like it's almost like you probably shouldn't do it in a sense because it's kind of like you gotta have that love for it where it's like you just
Mhm.
bleed this sport and so but yeah.
Well, he
Oh,
ended up,
Janet on Fire said, yeah, Shohei Otani is same thing. He kind of has that same deferred salary.
wow. Yeah, he ended up
Oh,
coaching
go
it
ahead.
instead all these years, so I guess he just stayed around baseball either way.
So are you a player?
Me?
Yeah. You play softball, right?
Yeah, I played softball and basketball. I did all of that. I never had any interest
Well,
in
that's because
playing
you're
in
6'4".
college,
That's
but
why.
yeah. I definitely enjoyed softball a little bit more than basketball, but it's all right.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Well, you guys got anything else? I mean, this was a lot of fun today. I'm glad we all got to hop on. I like StreamYard. It's kind of fun. It's just hard trying to do all these things at one time. And I can't really see, so I might have to start wearing my glasses when I'm doing this.
Oh
I
no.
can't. It's my screen is a little bit far away, so yeah. So what do you guys got going on this weekend then? Relaxing or work or hustling?
Oh yeah, hustling for sure.
Well, I only work Tuesday through Friday, so by the time I get home today, I'll be off. I'm pretty much a routine, boring person. I do the same thing week in, week out. Uh, Attend my French classes to try to keep my mind mentally stimulated. Play a couple of days of basketball, and I want to add swimming to
Oh,
my
wait.
repertoire too.
Let's go. Wait.
Mm.
Wait, French? Wait, what is this?
Yeah,
What are you
French,
talking
French.
about?
Yeah, I would like to learn. I'm learning French at the moment. Yeah, I speak Spanish. But I want to learn French.
Nice. Let's hear something.
In Spanish or French?
Well, let's hear something.
In what language?
I don't know. I wouldn't know the difference, I think.
Okay.
Let's see. We're just gonna.
Okay.
Oh,
Les voy a
yep.
hablar en
Sierra's gonna
español.
drive around and make cash.
Es bueno estar haciendo esto, publicando videos de bienes raíces y los deportes. Me gusta estar en estas publicaciones y le agradezco mucho por la oportunidad de estar aquí. So that's Spanish. French is not that good, of course. Bonjour, je m'appelle Martis. J'habite à Chicago. J'ai 31 ans. Je suis en couple. Voilà, c'est tout. That's it. That's all I know. That's it.
It's pretty good.
I
Yeah.
like it. You
Thank
could
you.
have said,
Thank you.
you could have mumbled anything though, and I would have thought you were speaking a different language.
I just want to learn how to say that Hawaii steak fish. I want to learn how to say that
But
fluently.
you know what you should do when you come visit here? I think it was next year. You should, when you go eat somewhere, you should tell them, if I can say it or spell it, can I get free food for the night or something, and see what they say. I think that would be funny.
Yeah.
Hyder said better French than him, and his daughter has been learning French for about 7 years.
Nice. That's a cool second language.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Brett says Sierra is just going to drive around and make cash. Probably your
Yeah.
Hive mapper. I hope he's still
My
referring to.
dash cam stuff. Yeah. I think I made about $40 last week, but I didn't do much driving, so I need to post my update on that.
And you're going to send me a picture, right? Is that what you're going to do?
I need to do that.
Why? What's wrong with the picture that I use?
Nothing. It's fine. There are worse pictures of me, I'm sure, so I'm fine with that.
What's the story on how y'all two met, Mark and Sierra?
When I was starting my channel, yeah,
and he asked
and I would
someone
always
else
see
to be
her
a
in the
guest.
lives.
Oh,
Wait
so
a
she been the
minute.
number one supporter from day one. You saying?
No, I've been her number one supporter from the beginning.
Okay.
Yep.
I saw the potential, so I said I'm going to reach out to her and have her on my channel.
My success is completely dependent upon Mark and his channel.
No,
But kind
No,
of.
yeah.
I
So I
mean,
I would always see her. No, I I used to see her in the lives a lot. Like I think Dion and maybe Lumberjack, and then so this is kind of when I was trying to get my channel off the ground. So I reached out to a lot of the people in the well, no, I reached out to only her first, and then you know
well, Alyssa
she
first.
agreed to come on, and then that's how we kind of connected. And then I'm trying to no, same time, but yeah, and then yeah, and I'm trying to do what Zuber's doing and trying to get like weekly regular people, regular guests on who have kind of their own niches, and it's been fun. So yeah, and she's always willing to do it, and like I always joke about too, she's getting kind of big. So when I message her, it takes her like 2 days to reply now, but she does get back to me finally. But that's how we connected, and then kind of I mean same thing how I connected with you. Well, yeah,
Right.
I didn't stop her and say, "Hey, your homes and hustles outside," but that was cool when she stopped me. So
Right, right. Okay, okay.
let's see. Oh, Jason says I know French like never mind. I know French like Ricky from Better Off Dead. Yeah. Well, I know. I
Yeah, so
mean,
I
yeah.
I I,
Anything
I
else you
won't
guys want to
be.
talk about?
No, I was just gonna say this, and this should be it. I wouldn't mind being a weekly guest on if you can, if our schedules can coincide or whatnot, to speak about whatever topic or subject used to come up throughout the week.
Yeah, yeah. I try to work it out, and I try. Me too. Me myself too. I try to get the live, once a week if I can. Sometimes it just doesn't work out because as much as possible, I don't want to do it at the station. It's just a lot more hassle for me to set everything up at the firehouse. So, but trying to stay consistent with it because yeah, I mean we have a good community and a lot of people support us, and I think people are following us, and I think it's helping all of us grow, and so a lot of fun, and just got to get you on X a little bit more and chat. But even Joel, he was because I think I tagged you one time, and Joel's like, "Wait, is that him for real?" You're Zach on X, right?
Those was my gambling days, so I
Yeah.
had to disguise myself here and there. So
Yeah. Well, whatever's man. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't. I don't know. I don't know how difficult it'd be to change now, but because you're not gonna gamble again, right? That's in your past.
no, if anything,
Just
I
like
might bet $5, $10 or something. Not know the thousands of dollars I was betting.
yeah,
So I minimized it to an extreme. Obviously, just to quit a habit, cold turkey, whatever. This is it's more easier said than done. But I might gamble $10 or $20 here and there, but not the thousands I was. So it's a big decrease.
yeah. I'm done drinking for good. I've put it out there. I'm done.
I thought you were done. I was surprised to
Yeah.
hear that you had one more go
I,
round.
well, yeah. I mean, I might have like something, but I,
What you
I
normally
really
drink?
pretty much
Beer
not
or
drinking. And I,
liquor, alcohol? When you was drinking, what was like your go to or?
yeah, it's more whiskey and stuff now. I mean, yeah,
That's
of
the
course, when I
stuff
was
right there,
younger and
whiskey
when it's cheaper,
sour.
I used to drink beer. But yeah, not whiskey. Well, yeah, but yeah, last
Really?
week was rough. I think God
Well,
just punished
like
me.
Jack Daniels, Jack
Well,
Daniels.
I don't know what it was I was drinking that day, but like Johnny Walker Black and
Okay, okay,
Monkey,
okay.
yeah. Um, but we had something at the fire with the fire guys, and I caved and I had a few, or not a few, but yeah, those 2 days. 2 days took me like 2 days to recover, and then it's like my son had his fair on the weekend, so I didn't do nothing that day, and then Sunday I had to go back to work, and then we had like a huge power outage in the area, so it was like I couldn't get anything done also that day because there was no internet. And then Monday they had to cancel school because the school didn't have food to serve because of the power outage. And then the next day my son didn't feel well, so I got to stay with him, but then I got no work, so it was like 5 days of just getting nothing done. And I'm like, yeah, God's punishing me, man. But it didn't help that I didn't pick him up from school too that day. Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
that's
my
probably where
reason
you
too.
swore off.
Just the fact. Yeah. I mean, honestly, it was him asking me where I was kind of like that was kind of like the a line in the sand. It's like, yep, it's not worth it. So
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, well, we can wrap this up unless you guys got anything else fun you want to talk about, or Sierra, it
That's
looked
it
like
for
you were gonna
me.
say something. No, you good?
Well, I was gonna say my
All
son's
right. Well,
been occupying himself this whole time, so I'm sure I'll can't wait to find out how much YouTube he's watched while we're on here.
yeah, that's the funny thing too. So my son, so like I said, he didn't feel well on Tuesday, so I got to stay with him, but I had to go meet like one of the plumbers at one of the Airbnb units because I had stuff to check on, and I'm like, all right, well, he can come with me, but he just bring his Nintendo Switch with him, and because I got stuff to
Mhm.
do, and I'm like, man, he's gonna just use it every time I don't feel well because he's like, oh, I get to play video games all day. Well, so we'll see if that works. If he's gonna be sneaky that way. Now we're talking movies. Maybe we can talk movies next time. Movies seems to be popular in the comments. So maybe next time we do a live, we can discuss movies because I think everyone has a movie that is super popular, and if you told someone, they'd be shocked that you never saw it. Because like for me, I know which one I would say, and you guys would be like, "What? You never seen that movie?" But movies
I'm
seem
sure
to
I
be
have a lot of those. I've
going
not
well in
been a
the
big
comments.
movie watcher.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably at least two off the top of my head that I would say, and people would be like, "What? You didn't see that movie?" Yeah, I don't know. Because what I'm sure you know one. What would be? Did you see Top Gun? You have to have seen Top Gun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What about? Because I never seen Forrest Gump.
Oh, well, yeah, that's a pretty common one. I've never seen Shawshank Redemption. I think I was
Yeah.
talking to Mikey about that in one of our
Oh, what?
earlier labs. Yeah.
And I never seen Titanic.
Me either. That's my other one.
Oh, yeah, those would probably be the two that. MJ, you're kind of quiet here. What did you watch all the movies?
Yeah, I saw Titanic and Forrest Gump. Yeah. No, I'm just listening. I'm listening.
What popular, what famous movie do you think you would say that people would be shocked that you never saw it?
Um, I wouldn't know off the top of my head. Somebody would just have to say a list of movies, but I haven't saw that. I don't know. I really don't watch too many movies now. I'm so into like, watching or listening to stuff that I can gain from. I mean, every now and then, if it's something just over promotionalized or something, I might go and see it. But for the most part, I mean, YouTube University.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh, Hyder says he never saw Titanic either. Oh, maybe it's not that popular then.
We just need to have a Titanic movie night.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, maybe that we can talk about that next time. But yeah, this was fun. Thank you guys for always doing it. Thanks for everyone that stopped by and who's still viewing. Looks like we are at 117 viewers. So yeah, we did well today. This was a lot of fun. I got to check my subscriber count. I think I'm over 400 now, maybe. But thank you everyone for coming by, subscribing. But thank you too for doing this. This was fun.
Uh, Absolutely. Nice meeting you, Sierra.
Yeah, you too, MJ. Thanks for hanging out, everyone.
Absolutely.
All right, and a hider, I will send you Sierra's info after this. All right, everyone, have a great weekend.